We are recording. Awesome. All right, so I didn't have like a ton of time to like really prepare for this, but I thought that maybe that's probably a good thing, right? Because we're getting to the point now where we should be able to build applications from, the bottom up without, too much preparation and stuff like that. So I basically just have this basic premise, right? We're gonna use asynchronous Redux and we're going to build some kind of application. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but it's going to involve Chuck Norris. Just because like those Chuck Norris jokes just really crack me up. So that's pretty much all I've got. The main plan is going to be like using Redux and Redux Thunk, and we'll probably throw in the logger as well. And then we're gonna like refactor it using context, which is gonna be really difficult for me because I haven't used context in maybe 6 months. So let's see. All right. Meet some people. Feel free to unmute yourselves, by the way, if I mute you. If I mute you, it's just because like maybe there's some noise coming through or something, but feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question or anything. That's not a problem at all. All right, so let's get stuck in. Before
you did yarn, right? Not npm?
Yes, I did. But if you want to use npm, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
No, so I don't have to add any dependencies on that end of it, right? It'll already run.
If you just downloaded the project and you haven't run npm install or anything like that, then yeah, you will have a problem. You'll have to install the dependencies. If you're using yarn, all you have to do is type yarn. If you're using npm, you need to type npm install. And here's the reason. If you look at our git ignore, the first thing we have is node modules. That means git ignores the node modules, which means these aren't going to be pushed to GitHub. And that's a good thing because there's really no reason for that. It would just clutter up our GitHub, and it's like so many changes. It would make, merging and dealing with merge conflicts a pain. So we usually add this to the git ignore. So yeah, if you have not already, go ahead and install those dependencies. All right, so let's go. Let's go ahead and start dealing with Redux. So I love Redux. I mean, if you guys have talked to me about Redux, you guys know Redux is my jam. It's my preferred way to handle state. But I admit that Redux has a lot of boilerplate stuff that needs to be added. That's where it kind of doesn't shine. That and the reducer is a little bit complex. So I want you guys to kind of walk me through it. What do I need to add in my index.js file to start using Redux? There's a lot of stuff. Just start throwing stuff out there. What do I need to add?
You need to have the provider.
Yep.
And you need to do the store.
Nice. Okay, where is provider imported from?
Redux. React Redux.
Yeah, there you go. React Redux. There we go. Provider. Awesome. We definitely need that. What else do we need? Because you said we needed to create a store. So what do we need to create a store?
Yeah.
Create store?
That's right. That's right. And what's that imported from?
Is that one from just Redux, right?
I think so. I think so. We will find out here in just a moment. If I'm not sure, this is what I'll do. I'll just go ahead and do the import, and then I'll come here and see if it auto-completes for me. Create. There we go. It does. And since we are going to be using Redux and actions to make Axios calls, we're also going to need middleware. So I'm going to go ahead and import middleware as well. All right. Now, is that everything we are going to need?
You need Redux as well, right?
Yeah, like Oh yeah, exactly, Thunk. Because I just mentioned we're going to be doing asynchronous calls from, is it just Redux Thunk? Yeah, that's it. I don't think you have to specifically import Redux from anywhere. I mean, it has been a while since I've made a front-end application, but any other thoughts? I also wanted to.
You don't have to import Redux because it's already when you installed it through your like npm or your yarn or whatever, it already gets added to your packages.json file. So
nice. All right, cool. I want to also use the logger, so I'm going to go ahead and add that as well. What is it? Is it Redux logger? Obviously, it's not. I guess I can look at my JSON, my package.json. I already imported it. It is Redux logger. Why did it not show up? Oh, because I don't have. Oh, that's not it. But from Redux. Yeah, there it is. All right, awesome. I think that's all I need. Don't quote me though. So if anybody sees something I'm missing, let me know. I wanted to ask you guys about this, but I just started going crazy. So create store. What do I need? I want to create store. What do I need in here?
you're gonna have to we're gonna need like a reducer, right? To put in there.
That's right. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's start doing the reducer thing because we kind of need that before we can even set all this crap up. Okay, so we're going to want a reducers directory. Probably only have one, but still, reducers. And we will have I'll just call it Chuck reducer. Chuck reducer.js. All right, awesome. All right, so what I did there is I created a reducers folder inside of the source directory and then created a new file called chuckreducer.js. All right, so we're going to get into the Chuck reducer. All right, what do I need to do to create a reducer? There's more than one right answer here because there's more than one thing that needs to be done. You just spit them out at me.
The initial state.
Yeah, that's right. Let's create our initial state. Export const equals, const initial state equals, all right, so we're gonna have asynchronous. So we're gonna need some stuff, maybe loading, and that will be a Boolean. So we'll go ahead and set that to false. We're going to need errors, and I think they will, what do errors come as? I think it would depend, but I'm gonna go ahead and initialize it as, I'm gonna initialize it as an array. And then we'll have maybe the Chuck Norris joke. So maybe like Chuck. And that's probably gonna be actually it's probably gonna be a string, isn't it? All right, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a string. Once we like start making API calls and we get a feeling for what our data actually looks like, we may end up going back and changing the state. Can anybody think of anything we might need more than this? Yeah, I'm kind of going off the cuff here, so maybe you guys can catch something that I do not see. All right, so we got that. What else do we need?
You need to export a reducer statement, right?
That's right. We need an actual reducer to, and we need to export it. So
I have a quick question. Why do you have errors as an array?
So see, I was debating about this, right? So like, for one, I don't really know the state of the errors, like what it's going to actually look like. So this could change. But my thinking process was like, hey, well, wait a minute, what if we have multiple errors? We can add them here, you know what I'm saying? So that's where my head was at. But once we actually do the API calls, we can actually purposely get an error, and then we can kind of get a feel for what our errors are actually going to look like, and we can change this then.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I love the questions, by the way. Keep them coming. Okay, so what two arguments does our reducer take?
The state and the action.
State and the action. That is exactly right. I'm going to give it a default of initial state, and just put action right here. And this is an arrow function. So let me do this. All right, what is inside of every reducer I've ever seen, and maybe every reducer you've ever seen?
Switch statement.
Switch statement, that's right. Switch, and that is going to be, and we're going to be choosing our cases based on action.type. All right, and we don't have any, we haven't like gone through and figured out what our cases are going to be yet. So I'm just going to put a default here, and I'm going to return state. All right, but it does not like that. What have I screwed up here? Is this wrong? Like in...
It's misspelled.
Oh.
The switch right there.
Oh, switch is misspelled. Thank you, sir. I wonder how long it would have took me to realize that that was misspelled. Awesome. You guys are freaking awesome. All right. And then let's go ahead and export this. I always do the reducer as an default export. That is no hardcore rule. If you want to do it with your regular exports, that's fine. Chuck reducer. Awesome. So now at least we have a basic reducer that so we can get our stuff started here. Is everybody done with this? If I don't hear anything in a few seconds, I'm going to go ahead and assume everybody's good.
30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds. Gotcha. I will take that moment to drink some tea. I love tea, man. And I want nothing in my tea other than tea either. No sugar, no cream, nothing, just tea. That's the way that's the way I like my coffee too, man. Nothing.
That's how coffee and tea should be drank. I'm sorry, like.
Yes, I agree.
Tea is better with brandy.
Oh, okay. You may have me at brandy, Liz. I might be able to deal with that. I remember the first time I had a Long Island iced tea, I was like, this is the most dangerous drink in the entire world because it tastes so damn good. And you can just drink a million of them.
Drink sugar water.
Is it like sugar water? It's been a while since I've had it. But I guess it was sweet now that I think about it. But I don't care, man. It was delicious. I love it. My sister made this drink. She called it a fuzzy. I don't remember what all was in it, but it was like orange juice mixed with some other stuff. Man, it was.
Fuzzy navel?
Yeah, it was based off a fuzzy navel, but it had some differences about it. And dude, she would make a ton of those, and we would just drink them all night. Man, I was crazy back in those days. Now I don't do nothing. All right. Anyway, after our little bit of small talk, let's go ahead and get back to business. All right, so here we are, we're back. And someone already said it, we need to put our reducer in here. So let's go ahead and import it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and import it right there. Import from, no, it'll be in this, right? Yeah, reducers, check reducer. Chuck reducer. All right, cool. And by the way, I think I mentioned this in the last time we had it before hours, but this is essentially a variable. So you can call this anything you want. Whenever it's a default export, it can be renamed easily. So this could be bananas. Bananas. Liz likes bananas. She's allergic to bananas. All right, so our first argument is the Chuck reducer. What is our second argument?
Apply middleware.
Yeah, we need to put that middleware in there, guys. All right, so what is our middleware? Scream them out at me.
It's got logger and Thunk, right?
Yeah. Logger and Thunk.
Does the logger, I seem to remember in the training kit it said the logger had to be in a particular place.
I bet you're right. Because it's
Yeah.
going to be logging before the async happens. I bet you're right, dude. I mean, do you remember if that's the right order?
I just remember there was an order. I don't remember which order.
Okay. So maybe this is right. We don't know. We'll find out when we finally launch the
I have my
application.
TK open.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, if you happen across it, let us know. But you don't have to go looking for it. That's awesome that you even offered, though. All right, let's go ahead and what's our next step?
You have to wrap the app in provider and then import the store into the provider.
Yeah, store equals store.
From TK, note if you use Redux Logger with other middleware packages, make sure Logger is passed to apply middleware last.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And thank you also, Rob, for pointing that out. I did not realize that.
Is Thunk a middleware?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Feel free to call me out, anybody who knows better. I mean, just like Rob, man, if Rob wouldn't have said anything, we would have had an error later, like, what the hell is wrong with our logger? It's not working. And I would be like, I don't know, bro.
I think the P of provider should be capital.
Oh, that is a good catch. That's right. It does have to be capital. That's right. Now, if we wanted to do something like this, provider as provider, we could do that. Awesome. That should work, but we don't want to do that. Oh, it's not working though. Look at that. Not working. Oh, that sucks. It goes against convention anyway. You're supposed to have components be capitals. All right, cool. It likes that. Here's a problem with me. Like, I love troubleshooting and debugging. So I have this huge urge to figure out why that didn't work, but we don't have time for that. So I'm just gonna have to fight it. All right, so we have our Redux boilerplate, I think, pretty much figured out at this moment. So I think our next step might be for actions. What do you guys think? I think that might be the logical next step. I mean, at this point, we don't even know what our data is gonna look like. So it's gonna be kind of hard to build out an application. So let's go ahead and go there.
Sorry, just one quick question. Is it in your provider supposed to be like after React strict mode, so it's sandwiching in between app? Does that matter?
That makes sense. You could do it either way. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But the reason I did it this way is because I don't want, at least my thinking was, is that I don't want React strict mode to be affecting the provider. And that's why I put it in between it.
Okay,
but,
so you do it either way. So it's kind of just a preference.
Yeah, you could, yeah, it's exactly right. It's a preference.
Okay.
All right. The only reason it wouldn't be a preference is if provider needed React strict mode or React strict mode needed provider, then it would definitely matter, the order. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and get stuck into the actions. I'm gonna go ahead and not do the terminal stuff, just so I'm a little worried that people aren't able to follow as well. So I'm gonna create a new folder, an actions folder. I'm gonna create a new file, and it's going to be Chuck actions, I guess. Chuck actions.js. All right, there we go. All right, so we know we're going to be doing asynchronous. So we're going to need a few different dispatch or action types, I guess. So let's think about what we want to name them. Let's see, export const. Anybody have any preferences on what we should name them? All right, fetch, Chucky success. Yeah, I like that. All right. We will go ahead and copy that over. But we're also going to need like start and failure, aren't we? Yeah. What's up? I feel like somebody's about to say something. What's up? All right, I was wrong. Fetch Chucky start, maybe. And then we can have fetch Chucky failure.
Wasn't Chucky the creepy doll?
Yes, yes, it was.
I was honestly kind of laughing because I was thinking about Chucky the doll.
Yeah. Same here. I was thinking it when I said it, actually, but yeah. I haven't seen the new movie yet. It's on Prime, I think. So I plan on watching it at some point, but I just haven't yet. Okay. So we have our action types. Now we need to actually make our action creators. Is there anything we need to import?
Axios above.
Yeah, we are gonna have to do that, aren't we? Because we're gonna be making Axios calls. Axios from Axios. And as you guys can tell, this is a default export. So you could also rename this if you wanted to. So this kind of sounds like a Greek god or something like that. So, or maybe a Roman god. So we could be like Jupiter. It's up to you.
I prefer the Greeks.
Oh yeah, I know you do. I actually was thinking about you when I said that. All right, so do we need anything else? Like, do we need to import anything for Thunk to work?
No, you're good to go.
All right, awesome. Let's get started then. Okay, const fetch Chuck joke. Sure. Equals. I don't think we're going to need to pass in anything. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this like this. And okay, so this is kind of a weird thing about Thunk. So we actually are making a function that returns a callback function. So we have a callback function right here that takes in dispatch. So when we initially call this, we want to let state know that, hey, we're making an Axios call. And then once we make the Axios call, we need to like determine whether it was a success or failure. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Actually, I already typed it, so I'll go ahead and type it. Okay, I want to make this action. This is going to be the fetch Chucky start action. What do I need to do? this is what I got so far. What do I need to add? What goes in here?
Type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It goes in curly braces.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I was waiting for it. Yeah. Okay. So you're creating an object, so you need to put those curly braces in there, and we're gonna do fetch
Chucky start.
Yeah. And I don't think we need to send a payload. I don't think this is gonna actually need a payload. We could change that later, but I think we're good. And then we can actually make our Axios call, axios.get. All right, I have the actual endpoint in the README, and this is the endpoint to get a random joke. All right, Chuck actions. Awesome. So .then. This is hard for me to do because I am one of those guys that I like to have my code in like a long line, but it's harder to read, and I know that that's not the way everybody else likes it. So I've been trying to make myself conform to doing it like this.
That's very sweet of you.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy. Not that big of a deal. All right. So when we make this Axios call, we're gonna get some kind of response, and we need to decide what we want to do with that response. If it's a response like a status 200 OK response, we're gonna put the code inside of the .then to decide what we want to do with that stuff. Now, at the moment, we don't know what our data is actually going to look like, so I'm not actually going to put the fetch Chucky success dispatch in here yet. I'm just going to go ahead and console log our data. All right, yeah, so, and let's make it like, okay, res.data from fetch Chuck joke. This is usually the first thing I do, unless I'm hitting an API that has a really good documentation and I already know what it's supposed to look like. And also, when you get a response or an error from a server, you're going to have, of course, you're going to have res or response and error or error. But to actually get at the JSON, that's usually going to be in data. So you can click res.data, response.data, or error.data, or error.data. All right, cool. And we can also check what our error is going to look like as well. Log error.data. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. It's just so hard for me. I want to take this up here so bad, but oh well. All right, I think that's good. We probably should just leave this here for now and then start like building out our application so we can make this call and see what our data is going to look like. So let's go ahead and go to app.js. Get out of the way. Awesome. All right, so we probably want to, and here's app.js. And once we first open the app, we probably want a joke to already be loaded. So we're going to have a use effect here, I think. All right. Use effect, right? And use effect takes a callback. Oops. All right, and we're going to initialize it with an empty array. All right, we need to import our action. And we also need to have access to our dispatch. So here's what I'm thinking. I prefer to use the hooks. See, is useDispatch? No, it does not come from that. Maybe it comes from React Redux. Import from React Redux. Let's see what comes change from there. Yep, there it is, useDispatch. All right. All right, so in order to use dispatch, we're gonna have to call it dispatch equals useDispatch. Awesome. And we're also going to need to get access to our action as well. So we're going to need to import that from actions, Chuck actions. Don't think it was a default export. So what was it? Fetch. Did we export it at all? No, we did not. Export const. All right, so added the export to the fetch Chuck joke. Going back to app to import it. Fetch Chuck joke. Awesome. All right, so as soon as the app renders, we want to go ahead and fetch the Chuck joke. Dispatch. Chuck joke. All right, and I think that should work. Although we're not doing anything with the data yet, so basically we're only doing this so we can see what our data looks like. All right, yarn start. For you guys using NPM, it'll be NPM start. All right, see what we got. There's Chuck Norris. All right, res.data is an object with a value that contains a joke. All right. So res.data.value.joke. Res.data.value.joke. Okay, oh my God, I have so many things open right now. Where are we at? Chuck reducer. Oh, that's not where we want to be. We're going to be in actions. Res.data.value.joke. All right, let's see if that's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want. Look at that. Joke. Some people ask for a Kleenex when they sneeze. Let's ask for a body bag. Awesome. All right, cool. So we've got it. We now know what our state looks like. Let's go ahead and try to throw an error.
So why did we use the useDispatch hook? Is that from Redux? Yeah, default hooks.
Yeah, it's from React Redux, and it's the modern way to use React with Redux. We were taught to use Connect, which is not as easy to use. But if you wanted to use Connect, here's what it would look like. You would have like a map dispatch.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want to see it?
It's fine. I got it.
You don't want to see it? You don't want to see it? You would just have your map dispatched to props. Actually, you wouldn't even have to have that. You could do it.
Okay, no, I don't need to see it. I'm fine.
I'm gonna show you. Man. It's too late.
Okay.
It's too late.
Show me.
We haven't imported the connect function, of course, but it would look like this, and you would have like null, and then you would have an object that contains Chuck, fetch Chuck joke. That's what it would look like. And
okay.
But you wouldn't need the dispatch because the dispatch is automatically handled through Connect. So you would just have fetch Chuck joke alone inside of this use effect.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Oh, damn it, it did import Connect. No. All right, sweet. So we have our joke. We could could just put it right here. This is kind of a simple thing right here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. But we're not doing anything with it. We need to like set it to like local state or something. Or we can use useSelector and actually get a piece of state here. useSelector. So I'm gonna get the joke from state, and actually, you know what? This is gonna get complicated. So we're gonna go ahead and make a component. Joke. Screw that. Chuck. Hey, God. Awesome. And of course, Chuck is a God is not defined. So we're going to define it. I'm going to create a components folder. And I'm going to create a Chuck is a God component. Chuck is a God.js. All right, and of course we need to do our React boilerplate here. React from React. This is in Chuck is a God.js. And const Chuck is a God. I don't think we're gonna need any props, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it blank for now. Return. Let's see, what are we gonna need? I think we're pretty much just gonna need like, let's make it in like an H1 or something. H1. And we're gonna need useSelector because we're gonna need to get a piece of state here. Import useSelector from React Redux. React Redux. By the way, guys, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to say something. I'm kind of like in the zone, I guess. All right, so is anybody familiar enough with the useSelector hook to tell me how to get joke from useSelector? It's cool if you're not, but if anyone is, feel free to speak up. Any takers? All right. So useSelector works a lot like map state to props, I think. useSelector, and it takes a callback function that takes in state, and then you return whatever piece of state you want, which I think we called joke. All right, awesome. But actually, come to think of it, we're gonna need all of state, aren't we? Yeah, we are going to need all of state because we're going to also need the loading or whatever we called it and our errors, because we could handle all of that inside of here. So let's go ahead and, so what does this represent right now, guys? What does it represent? It represents the entire state object, right? But we don't want to continuously be typing out state.this and state.that. So let's go ahead and destructure it. What does it look like? Loading errors and Chuck. It's Chuck. Okay, my bad. Loading Chuck and errors, I believe is what it was. Yes. All right. So we're getting all of those from state. So here's where we're going to have our ternary statement, where we're checking if we're currently loading a joke, and if we're not, then we'll show the joke. All right, cool. This is going to change some stuff that we did in app.js as well. But we will get there. So loading is a true or false value. So we'll say, okay, are we loading? If we are, then we'll show like maybe some message like loading joke. We'll just call it that for now. And if not, then we're going to actually have the joke. All right. So maybe we will go ahead and handle errors in the base component, because it really doesn't make sense to have the errors inside of the H1. All right. So that is that. Now we need to go to app.js. Come on. Handle. We need to import the Chuck is a god, of course. Chuck is a god from components. Chuck is a god. All right, awesome. So here's the thing. We got this joke that we're bringing in right here. Actually, we're not getting state, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's cool. We can just leave that. We can just leave that. But we do need to do something with our errors, so we can handle that right here. So, which also means we're going to need to use useSelector because we need to know if there's errors or not. So, const errors equals useSelector state dot errors. And that gives us, and the errors, I mean, at least for the moment, is a array. So we can do length. So if errors.length is 0, in JavaScript, 0 will evaluate to falsy. So if we don't have anything, this is false. So if it's true though, if we do have errors, we're going to want to display them. And if they're an array, we're going to need to map them. Errors.map. Error. And for now, I'm just going to put them in a bunch of p tags until we know what we're dealing with. Error. This is probably not going to be what it eventually looks like because we don't know anything. And we'll just make this an empty fragment because we don't want to show anything. And we'll just leave it like that for now. This could change. This could change. So, I failed to compile. Chuck the guide does not contain. Oh, yeah, of course. We need to do our default export. Come on. There we go. Export default. Chuck is a god. Awesome. Power warning. Oh, okay. That's not a problem. We'll do that in a second. Okay. Oh, because we haven't done anything with our reducer yet. So we do have a successful, thing going on where we're getting data, but we're not setting it to the store. So, all right. So we need to do that. Oh, we got a lot of stuff to do, don't we? Because we have like ton of. Okay, so I guess where I'm going to start is importing our action types. Let's see, and I think they all started with fetch. Yes. Fetch, Chucky, success. Okay, sweet. So we need to actually start making our cases. And I want you guys to kind of walk me through this. Fetch, Chucky, give it to me, start. Okay, so in this case, what am I gonna do? Like, give it to me, like, what do I need, what needs to be inside of this object here? Anybody know? Yeah, you need a spread in state.
And update loading to true.
Yeah, that's right. Loading will equal true. And I think, oh, we could also, we could probably also go ahead and take away the errors. Or we could wait until we get a success to do that. I think I'll wait until success to do that. That's a design decision. If you wanted to go the other way, I would understand. But I think I am going to go ahead and wait to do the errors.
What would be the reason for
resetting the errors right here?
Yeah.
Just because, like, okay, you're making a new request. Maybe you want a fresh set of errors, like the most recent stuff. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I kind of want to keep them until we have a success.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I think makes sense to you is kind of what you're saying. Fetch Chucky success. All right, we have a successful call. What do we got to do here, guys?
Spread operator state.
That's right, state, spreading state.
Chucky colon action payload.
Yeah, let's go. We'll actually have to update our action for this as well, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and there's one more thing we need to do. Actually, there's a couple more, isn't there?
Like dot results.
Loading to false.
Yeah, loading to false is one of them. Loading is false. And we actually need to change errors as well because we have a success. So we'll set errors to an empty array again. And that's cool. And like I said, like I mentioned this before, like this currently is all our state, so we wouldn't really have to pass in this state right now. But we don't know what our state's gonna look like when our application is completely finished, so this makes it a little more future-proof. All right. Case, fetch, Chucky. There we go. Failure, there it is. And we want to return. All right. What do we need, guys? What do we need?
The state, spread state.
Yes.
And
state.
Update the errors.
Yeah. And we don't know what errors is going to be yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this as action.payload. It could be that it's, I honestly have no idea what it's going to be. So it could be that it's an object. It could be that it's an array of a ton of information, or it could be a sentence. We don't know what it's going to look like yet. There's one more thing this needs.
Loading.
Yeah, that's right. So we are finished loading. Even though we had a failure, we are finished loading. So we need to make sure they know that. Okay, and I think that's good for that. We do need to update our actions though, because right now we're just console logging. We're not actually doing anything here, no dispatching or anything. Okay, so walk me through it. I have my dispatch right here. What do I need inside of this dispatch?
The type and payload.
Type and payload, that's exactly right. Type is going to be fetch Chucky success. What is our payload going to be?
Rest dot value. Data dot value.
Value. Show. Yeah. It was kind of sucked because this was like hiding it. All right, cool. So we got that. Let's also, well, we'll update the error once we get an idea of what our error is going to actually look like. All right, cool. And let's go ahead and erase this. All right, let's go look and see what's going on. Whoa, who came wrong? The translation reads Crouching Chuck, Hidden Norris. Okay, gotcha. Sweet. Awesome. All right. So this is working. It's a little weird how we've got these. So we could maybe mess with that later. But we also need to figure out what's going to happen when we have an error. So let's look at our code here.
Might the end quote be from the API's end?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I just trying to figure out like how we're gonna deal with that. Like maybe like stringify or something. Maybe that will work. All right, I'm just gonna put a lot of random stuff in here that I know is not gonna be successful, hopefully, and we'll see what happens. All right, where is it? There it is. We don't have anything where we are, okay, here we have undefined. That's probably our error right there. Let's go ahead and make this a little better, a little easier to read. I got COVID-19, guys. I'm just playing. I don't have COVID-19. At least I hope I don't.
I hope you don't also.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to stay here and help us.
Yeah.
You can get sick.
Although I do have some bad news about that.
Oh, you're leaving.
Yeah, I got promoted to section lead. So I'm going to be the section lead of the new web cohort.
Nice.
And yeah, I did not apply for that. So it wasn't my choice. Like, gosh, I'm tired of web part-time 18. I actually love this cohort. I think this is a fantastic cohort.
So when does that happen?
It happens starting Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it really sucks, dude.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Can I flex all the way back?
Yeah, we'll flex.
Yeah, I mean, it's bittersweet for me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want the more hours and I want the more pay and stuff like that. But my passion is teaching, and I'm not going to be doing hardly any teaching, if any, as a section lead. So that really sucks.
And I can tell that you enjoy teaching, and I hope you find a way to keep doing it.
I hope
somewhere.
So too. I may volunteer as an ESL teacher because I've done ESL before. So I'm sure there's volunteer opportunities out there for doing that. But I'm definitely going to have to do something because it's definitely a passion for sure.
As a teacher myself, you are an excellent teacher.
I appreciate that. That is high praise. All right, cool.
As an English teacher, you would be an English teacher?
Yeah, English as a second language. Yeah, I did that in Japan for a total of 6 years. My last stint was 4 years. I really, really enjoyed it. First time I went there, it was teaching adults. Second time I went there, it was teaching high school. Third time I went there, it was teaching all ages, man. I'm talking like preschool all the way to university level. It was really fun. I really love teaching kids English. And what's funny is they can barely speak Japanese and they're talking English. It's awesome. Anyway, we got sidetracked. So it looks like error is actually a string. So what we can actually do is change default state. The thing is also, guys, like, I mean, I could end up getting hired like in a couple of weeks anyway. God willing.
Can I see your app.js for a quick second?
Sure, man.
Okay. Okay, I'm getting an error on line 8. I don't know why.
All right, give me a second to fix my error that I just noticed. And are you cool with sharing your screen real quick? We can just knock it out real quick. Cool. All right, go ahead.
Object is not a function on line 8.
Errors. useSelector. Let's see what you got. Oh, okay, because you haven't imported it yet. So just make sure you import useSelector.
It's right here.
Oh, it comes from React Redux.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right. I'm gonna take it back.
Can you can I look at the index.js?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is where all the boilerplate crap happens. And
Yeah.
I usually use some kind of reference when I do this. The only reason I didn't do it this time is because I had you guys to help me. But if I was building a project by myself, I would make sure to have some kind of reference of an old project so I make sure I don't miss anything.
Right.
Then whenever Rob is done looking, can I take a look at the Chuck is a God JS file?
Sure. Just let me know when you're finished, Rob.
Yeah, mine's giving me an error on that page.
What does the error say?
It says object is not a function, and it's on line 11, which is the same as your line 11.
Oh, okay.
See.
That could be that. Did you import apply middleware from Redux?
Check.
Or maybe create store from Redux?
No, I didn't.
All right, awesome.
From React. Oh, yeah, that you gotta keep on top of those.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Subtle differences, yeah.
I was helping somebody troubleshoot earlier, dude. It was like so satisfying. Like it was a lot of errors, but like we got the first one and then it was just like dominoes, like bam, 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 bam. I love it when that happens.
Oh yeah.
All right, Chuck is a god.
Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Let me check our errors here. Do not see our errors. Oh, because our errors is not a, okay. Errors. And we're still not seeing it. Oh, because we, God dang it. You guys are probably laughing at me right now because like we never even like sent it to the reducer. So of course we're still console logging it. Man, dude. It's sleeping time, guys. I'm just like making all kinds of little silly mistakes. All right. So yeah, type. Gosh, where was that? Was that error.message or error.data.message? Does anybody remember? I can just undo it and see what it was. I think it was error.message. Yeah, okay. All right, dispatch type is going to be fetch Chucky. Sure, we'll do that, and then we'll on. And the payload is going to be error.message. Cool. Yeah, when you have an actual application like this, where you put the errors is going to really depend on you. You could have like an alert or something that pops up, or you could like, I don't know, it could be in a modal, or it could be like in the case of an input or something, it could be like little red text underneath. It all depends on like kind of what you want. Ooh, we got all kinds of stuff. Oh, that's right, because it's a string, not an array, so it's going to break our reducer. Okay, so this needs to be a string. All right, and errors is going to be action.payload. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay. I think that'll work. Errors.map is not, oh, so many little problems from thinking that that was going to be a array. All right, so we just want this. And it's going to be errors, not error. All right, get rid of this. All right, I think that'll be fine. Oh, let's go. Cannot read property joke of undefined. I would like it. Wait a minute, is that what it says? Cannot read property joke of undefined. That was our error? That's a lame error.
That sounds like something in your code.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. Was that our error, guys? Cannot read property joke of undefined? I guess it was. That's some error from like within the server API, the API server, that they've just sent along as the message. That's interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a free API. He's probably like, okay, they can deal with this, and if they don't like it, screw them, you know? All right, cool. So, I mean, is there anything else? Oh, we probably want a button, right? Because like, we don't want to just like have to refresh every time we want a new joke. So we can do a button right here. Let's make it, actually, let's make it on top of the errors. Button. Morris goodness. And we'll do an on-click here that basically does the same thing that's inside of that use effect. On-click equals fetch. Actually, we can just, I think we can just put fetch Chuck inside of this. Oh no, because we need dispatch, that's right. Okay. Dispatch. Fetch Chuck joke. Like that. I think that'll work. Let's see. We don't have any styling, so it's probably gonna, oh no, it is fine. It's fine. Check that. Okay. Oh yeah, but we're not gonna get it. We're gonna keep getting our error until we fix that. So let's fix that in our actions now that we know what our errors are going to look like. Oh, dude, but what was it? Will I get my undo? Oh, I won't get my undo. I'm going to have to recopy it.
/random.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you. Joke/random. Gotcha.
Jokes.
Oh,
With an
jokes.
S.
Jokes. Somebody's like, all right. Fight with Bruce Lee was the product of history's most expensive dish. Oh, that's funny. Awesome. Okay, let's get a different one. Chuck Norris is the reason why Waldo was hiding. I love that, dude. Dude, I could like, you get like a few like Long Island iced teas in me. I could just do this all night, man.
Somebody's pretty good. Mine says Chuck Norris can binary search unsorted data.
Nice. Nice. Oh, I love that, dude. Binary searching unsorted data is not, actually you can't do it unless you're going to sort it first. That's awesome. All right, cool. So this is done, I think, as far as Redux goes. So if we want to refactor with context, probably need to make that happen now. Refactoring to use context is going to be pretty extensive, I think. Because the thing is, we're not going to be using a reducer. Let's kind of plan this. All right, so
before you start, Vince, I got to head out, unfortunately.
Yeah, no problem, man.
But I'll watch the rest of this tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to let you guys know. As you guys know, I love troubleshooting and debugging. I get excited about it. So if you guys have errors in your code or anything, feel free to message me just like you do now.
Nice. Even after you're upgraded?
Yeah. Even after I'm section lead.
Oh, awesome. Will you come do Zooms with us?
I've been actually thinking about how that would work. Because my original thought was that I would still do after hours. But the thing is, like, the cohort I'm going to ends at 9 p.m. Pacific.
Oh.
So that's like really late. For me, it's 11 p.m.
Yeah.
For people on the East Coast, it's going to be like midnight.
Yeah.
And that's when it ends. So I don't know. I'll try to figure something out. I'll be around though. I mean,
just find somebody here on the West Coast and go look over their shoulder while they're taking your class. Don't tempt me.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I mean, I'll be around though, guys. I'm essentially just like a Slack message away.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll be bugging you.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
See you later, guys.
Yeah, see you later, man.
Do you know who's going to be doing after hours with us?
I don't know yet. I know that the SL Brandon, one of our SLs, has been really like adamant about finding support hours. And I think that is freaking awesome. Finding somebody to do after hours, especially in the way that we're doing it right now, which is like actually building a project together, is going to be harder because it takes some preparation. But I will definitely make sure they know that you guys really want that.
Yeah. Not that they can replace you.
I would love it if they, I mean, I hope they can actually, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I appreciate the sentiment for sure. Okay, using context. Boo. I hate context. All right. So let's get stuck in. I think where I'm going to start, maybe we can have like, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and create another directory called contexts. Let's see, new folder, contexts. All right, and what are we gonna need? So we have a joke, we have error, and we have loading. That's all of our state. I mean, I guess we could probably put that all in the same state, the same context, like as an object, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's kind of like not how you would do it. Like if this was all, you know, using like use state, you would have those be separate.
Why would you separate them?
So, I mean, like kind of think about like how we would do it, like const joke, set joke, you know what I'm saying? Equals use state. Like that. And then you would have const loading, set loading equals false and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that, but why not put them all into one state?
We can you know what? Screw it. Let's try it. Set loading equals use state loading. I mean false, right? False, yeah, false. And const, what is it? Errors? Or yeah, we call it errors, but it's really just error. Screw it. I'm gonna read. No, I better keep it the same. Set errors equals use state, and we'll also call that a string as well. Okay, so there is the initialization of our state, our local state. Now we want to create a context, and we're going to do that here. We'll just call it a Chuck context. We can rename it later if we want. Context.js. And we want to import, is it from React?
Yes.
Okay, React, create context, and from,
You need a from.
yeah, from, okay. And we can just export defaults, create context. Oh yeah, and this is a function, obviously. So, all right. So if you wanted to like have this be like a context file where you export multiple contexts, which would really make a lot of sense. Like if you had a lot of different contexts running, you would just export const something equals create context. But since we know we're only going to have one context, at least in its current state of how we're doing things, I just defaulted it. And since we're default exporting it, we don't need to set it to a variable. All right. So we've got our context exported. Where are we going to app? So now we need to get the provider. So let's see. useContext. Is that from React? Yes, it is. useContext. And oh, wait a minute. useContext is when you want to actually use it, though. Is that right? Gosh, I suck at context. I haven't used it literally in 6 months. So, okay, you guys walk me through it. Like, what do I need to do next? So this is where I am setting up my state. This is where my provider is going to be. So I guess I need to maybe import the context, right? So import Chuck context from, wait a minute, this is app, so we'll just go there. Context equals Chuck context. And then, I wonder if that should be a capital. I feel like that should be a capital. It just doesn't look right. Check. All right, so
And then you
then
would
we can
wrap
just
your, yeah.
just check context provider, right? Dot provider around what needs
yeah.
it. All right, Chuck context.
Can you go under the image?
Yes, we definitely can. We definitely can. Okay, and we can just put it on this level right here. Check context dot provider.
And then value.
Yeah, we're gonna set the value. All right, go ahead and push this forward. Value is going to equal a object that is going to contain joke, loading, and error. Actually, wait a minute. Errors, this is a local variable. So really all we need is joke inside of context, is that right?
And loading.
Oh yeah, and loading too, okay. Awesome, all right, cool. Joke and loading will be in our context here. Okay, so that connects them to the context. Now we can get access to it. And we need context from here. It's so funny, like I am not exaggerating when I say I have not used this in 6 months. And like just trying to kind of figure it out is really interesting. All right, so we're going to get, we need loading.
Joke and loading.
All right, joke, loading. Actually, we can do this. We can do this. We structure it like this. Joke, loading.
Use context.
Yep. Use context, and I think that's it right there, right?
You pass the context in also.
Oh, this needs to take the particular context. Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Import Chuck context. Oh yeah, that's right. Just doesn't look right. Chuck context from context. Did I call it check context? I sure as heck did.
Looks like it.
Oh well, we'll mess with that later. All right. And we need to change this to joke. Actually, might change that in the other one instead, because I want it to be able to be used with both Redux and this one. App.js, Chuck. Set Chuck. Okay. All right, so just like that, it has access, right? Oh yeah, we need to pass this in. Check context. Am I missing anything? I mean, obviously we still have functionality we need to write inside of app, but
I don't see anything missing.
For some reason, I like in the back of my memory, I'm remembering having like consumer or something like that. But maybe I'm just remembering incorrectly.
No, I remember consumer also, but
maybe was that with the render props method, perhaps? I don't know. We'll try it. I mean, if it's broken, we'll look up the actual documentation. I mean, and in those cases, it's actually like a really good learning opportunity. We can all like troubleshoot together and stuff like that. Okay.
I didn't use a use consumer in tonight's project, and it worked.
Sweet.
In the shopping cart project.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and import Axios from Axios, because we're pretty much like setting up our state inside an app now, so we need to go ahead and make our Axios call here. Axios. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and make that call here, but we're gonna make a function out of this because we want to be able to make this call when we hit the button as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Get joke. Const get joke equals. Just make it, we don't need to pass in anything, right? And we can pretty much just copy this code from the actions, I believe. I mean, obviously the implementation inside of it is not going to be the same, but. All right, app.js. Okay, axios.get. All right, we're gonna do something. Actually, I'm just gonna comment that out for now because we might need to know that stuff. Okay. Okay, what do I need to do in here, guys? Need to set Chuck, right?
Set Chuck.
Yeah. Set Chuck. Set Chuck to res.data.joke.
Dot value.
Oh, dot value dot joke. Thank you.
Yeah.
Value dot joke. And we also set. Did we also? I think we set everything in this one. So we're going to set our errors as well. Our errors are going to be empty. Our loading is going to be false. Awesome. And we're going to go ahead and want to set our loading to true right here. Set loading to true. All right, what do we want here? Oh, we're gonna need more than one thing, aren't we? Yeah, sure as heck is. Sure as heck MR. Sure as heck R. Okay, got you. Set loading is gonna have to equal false in this case as well. There we go. And we also need to
set errors.
Yes, set our errors. And that's going to be error.message, I believe, is what it was. All right, I think that's everything. We're just going to want to get joke. And it's going to complain if we don't put get joke as a dependency. Right. Even though get choke is never going to change, it's going to always be the same. It's still going to complain. And actually, it might be a good idea to, because this function is going to re-render every time the app component re-renders. But it does need access to state, so never mind, we're going to have to keep it in here. If you ever have a function or something inside of here that doesn't depend on state or anything, it's always a good idea to keep it outside of this app so it doesn't re-render every time the component re-renders. There's also—
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's also other things you can do to get around it, like use memo and use callback, I think is another one. I don't use those very often, but if you're doing like a really big application that has tons of data, then those are going to be what you want to look up. But you're not going to use them often enough to be able to know how to use them right off the cuff. You're going to have to look at the documentation. That's what I would have to do.
I've already forgotten how to use half the ones they've taught us.
Yeah, I hear you. Like here I am, like using useContext, and I'm needing you guys to like push me in a wheelchair doing this thing, you know. So yeah, I hear you. All right, I think this will work. We do have to change this to get joke. I think this will work in its current state. Let's see it for a test drive and see what's broken. Errors has already been declared. That makes sense. Because we still have this stuff in here. Let's go ahead and comment that out. So what's our next error? Use, oh, we didn't import use state. All right. Use state. Dominoes, getting the error dominoes going here. Chuck has already been, yeah, because we have const loading Chuck right up there. Okay. Where's that?
Wouldn't that be in the other file?
Is it Chuck is a god? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, this is also a Redux thing. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Whoa, look at that. It's in some kind of loop. That's not what you want.
No.
I better go ahead and like break this somehow so we can get it to stop. Let's see, how can we get it to stop easily? We can just comment this out and it will stop getting that. Make sure that it has stopped. Okay. So why are we continuously re-rendering?
Something to use effect?
Oh yeah. Because this calls every time. Is that what it is? Like every time it renders, it's trying to get another joke. But then every time it gets a new joke, it has to re-render. So it re-renders this. Here, let's try to make this empty and see if that helps. Comment this. All right. Get joke is not defined. Did I not save that? Get joke is not defined. It is defined, I promise. Yeah, it says compiled with warnings. What the hell? Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Hey, okay, that worked. So just like I was telling you guys, like it re-renders, like that function re-renders every time the component re-renders. So every time the component re-rendered, that joke would re-render, which would cause the use effect to go again, which calls another joke, which causes that freaking get joke function to re-render. God. React, man. It'll blow your freaking mind sometimes. Trying to keep track of what is all going down. All right, let's see if this works. Yeah. Nice. Nice. That one, that's good. All right, cool. So that's with context. The cool thing about context is it's just like so more chill. Like I hadn't used it in like 6 months, and with direction from you guys, I was able to get this like set up pretty easily. That's definitely the good part of it. But look look at how much more functionality we have in app. You know, we've got a lot of state management happening in app. So there is some.
Well, you don't have to have all that in app.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you could bring this out. Actually, but how would we do that? So, because we're still going to need to be keeping track of state. So we would have to
Well, couldn't you just use one use state and put the object in there?
Oh yeah, you could totally do that. It's just not the
That
way.
would cut down on some of the code.
Yeah, it's just not the way you usually use state.
It's how I usually use it.
That's the way I use it for forms because it's all related. But this is kind of unrelated stuff. I mean that's a personal decision. That's a style choice.
Yeah.
I just love Redux because you have like one spot for all your state. And whenever you're using useSelector and useDispatch, it's just really intuitive for me. You want something that's in state, you use that useSelector, you grab it. You want to make a change
I need to practice with those hooks.
Yeah, oh yeah, man, these are great. I had forgotten all about the connect function until we had the lectures.
But the use.
Yeah, useDispatch and useSelector.
Yeah. Those definitely make it a much nicer experience.
Yeah, it's like so awesome. It's just like just grab a piece of steak, pick it off. I love it. All right, this seemed pretty chill and pretty easy actually. I'm really surprised. I expected to struggle more with context, but of course I had you guys' help, so that definitely made it easier. All right, I think that's going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and push this. Do you guys have anything you want clarified?
Tomorrow, is everything just, or is it all just going to kind of be scratch for sprint and then just kind of go and build it?
So I don't know for sure what the sprint's going to be, but I will say what it was before. You're going to have an API, like a local server type thing, like you've had before. And you're of course going to have to do async calls. So you're going to have to decide, but you can decide context or Redux. It's up to you. You're going to have to make asynchronous calls to get that data, just like you're doing here. So fetch start, fetch success, fetch failure. I'm not sure, but I think they also may want you to do a post request. So that's going to be the heavy new thing. Here, let me comment this real quick, and we can like kind of talk about how that would look. Added code for solution. All right. So let's kind of think about that, and I'm gonna assume that you're gonna use Redux, because if you're not using Redux, it's actually pretty chill. It's like you're just making a post request from whatever component you want to make the post request from. But let's see. So let's say we want to add a Chuck joke. Export const add Chuck joke, and it's going to actually have to take in something. So it'll probably be like the text of the new joke. So instead of being empty right here, we're going to take in the text from the new joke, and we'll dispatch, of course. I cannot type right now. So you could, how you do it from this point really depends on how you want to build your application. You could totally have like the same kind of thing, right? So post joke start, post joke success, post joke failure. That way the user has some kind of feedback. So like, say you have some kind of form where you're adding jokes to the database. The user might want to see that spinning loader to know that, hey, right now we're sending your joke to the server, and then you'll get some message if it was successful.
Right.
So let's pretend that that's what's happening. So we'll of course have that stuff. I won't write it right now, but you can kind of imagine them. Type will be fetch, or no, post joke success. I will tell you what it used to be. So what it used to be was like a Smurf village, and
okay.
you would get the other Smurfs, and then you would add a Smurf, and that was your post request. So what a Smurf might be is an object that contains like an ID, the Smurf's name, his height, weight, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Should I brush up on my Smurf lore?
It might not hurt. It might not hurt. I don't think you actually have to, but it would be cool. You might be able to put some Easter eggs in your code if you do. Posts, and so this is a post request, and you'll have your endpoint. So, you know, endpoint for post. Yeah, make sure this is post because you're making a post request. And then you'll have, just like up here, you'll have your .then, your response. What is responded from a post request changes a lot. It's one of two things usually. It's usually the object as it was added to the database. So like, okay, you just added this object to the database, here it is back from the database. And the reason that's important is because it'll have more information, like maybe it'll have the ID, that its ID in the database, maybe it'll have a created at field or something like that. So it'll either be that or the ID of where it is in the database. That's also common.
Okay.
So we'll just like pretend like returns Smurf, like Chuck. Actually, I'm gonna start saying Smurfs because that's what it used to be. Smurf returns Smurf object. And maybe we want to go ahead and add, now that we have a successful added Smurf, we want to go ahead and add that to our current state of Smurfs. Dispatch, and we'll have type, and it'll be like post Smurf success. Or maybe it'll be add Smurf success. It's up to you. If it's even the same, guys. Like I seriously do not know.
Okay.
I wish they used to give us access to the sprints early, but I haven't had access to the sprints until you guys do for like the last, I don't know, couple of months. And of course, this will have to have a payload as well. And that will be like, I don't know, wherever the Smurf is in your data.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have to console log it and see like exactly where the new Smurf object is. And then just like up here, you'll have an error.
So this is just a different way that they're causing it to actually you're adding data.
Yeah, you're actually
putting just grabbing.
Exactly. So instead of grabbing data from the database, you're actually adding data to the database.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. So that I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to do this. We had to do this, and your all sprints and homework has either been the same difficulty as ours, or more difficult. So
they just keep adding more as we go along.
Yeah, it really does seem like it, dude.
Wow.
And I think you're gonna at least have to do something like this.
Okay.
And but just keep in mind, dude, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. You're just posting instead of getting. And let me go ahead and erase that. And the way that might look here, so you'll probably have like some kind of form with like a input field where you can put in the Smurfs information. So like maybe name, height, weight, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it might not be a bad idea to review forms. And remember, forms will be handled with local state. You won't have to make any kind of Redux call or anything until the form is actually submitted.
That sounds like a whole lot of typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's from the absolute bottom though. Like I think you have some boilerplate. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Actually, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find my old one. Actually, I might as well stop recording because I doubt anybody's gonna be interested in seeing this part.